So here we have the Zoco 2.0 Cajon by Leiva. This is slightly more expensive than the Sweet Spot and the ordinary Zoco model, and I'll come on to the reasons why just in a minute. Constructed in exactly the same way and from the same materials as the Sweet Spot and the Zoco or Zoco, the Zoco 2 has an MDF body and it has a birch Tapa or front face. And the beauty of birch is that when you play it, it pulls out a lot of the really lovely high tones that give you that real pop and crack. So the tones from this drum, even though the price and the title is that it's an introductory level instrument, are definitely very professional. So if you're looking for a cajon that produces a professional sound, the Zocos are certainly worth considering. Okay, so if we move to the business face of the cajon, the Tapa face, the front face where all those notes are played, this is made from Finnish birch. Birch is a great wood, has a very wide dynamic range. What it means in particular is that with this, having this birch on the front, it means that when you play the slap strokes or the high tones, that it really pulls out those high frequencies. It produces a real crack, a real pop, which enables your high tones to cut through whatever music you're playing, whether you're playing acoustically or whether you have the instrument mic'd up. And if I just move around to the side here, you can see that the Tapa face here, very thin, 3mm thick, really nicely beveled, very carefully smoothed off so it doesn't damage your hands. But this really is the business part of the cajon. A good quality Tapa will enable you to produce sounds that you need to project through the band. So that's just a quick look at the Tapa face, and we will move on now to have a look at the back. If we turn the Zoco 2.0 around to have a look at the back, you can immediately see a couple of differences. First is that the sound hole has now been placed towards the bottom of the cajon at the back. I just think this produces a slightly more bassy, punchy sound than the hole being located in the middle or at the top. That's a personal view, but I tend to find these drums produce just that little bit more kick and bottom end. But also you'll notice that this drum now has two of these external snare adjusters, and indeed if I tilt the drum slightly forward and move in, you can see actually inside the cajon there two pairs of snares passing from bottom to top against that Tapa face. And what this does, this extra pair of snares actually produces a fatter, thicker high tone or snare tone when it's played. So although the construction and the materials are identical, perhaps relocating this sound hole and also adding those extra couple of snares at the front really does give the Zoco 2.0 that little bit extra punch and that little bit extra kick when it comes to producing its sounds. So if that's the sound you're after, then the Zoco 2.0 is definitely worth checking out. All Leiva cajons have isolating feet on the bottom. This is the bottom of a Zoco model. They're all the same, whether it's the Sweet Spot, the Zoco, or the Zoco 2.0. What you can see is we have four feet, rubberized plastic, which actually raise the cajon off the floor. And what that means is that as you play the instrument, the wood, the body, is allowed to resonate fully and produce that really nice fat sound without being too damped by resting against the floor. Particularly as a lot of the time we may be sat on a floor covered by carpet, which is an extremely good damping material. So these are very simple features which enable the cajon to perform at its best. Once again, if we play this instrument, just simple sounds, you remember that we haven't got the high circle in, we haven't got the sweet spot, that this is going to be the area where you're going to pull out the most bass, so we get a nice fat bass sound, very focused bass sound by virtue of the MDF body, but also we get really nice high tones as well. You may be able to hear that, you may not, but the snare sound produced by the Zoco 2.0 is actually quite a lot fatter than the snare sound produced by the Zoco or the Sweet Spot. So if you're really after this extra thicker snare sound, then the 2.0 is a good choice to go with. So there we have it, the Leiva Zoco or Zoco 2.0 Cajon. The most expensive of the three Zoco models, really because it has that additional set of snares to enhance the snare sound and produce that slightly thicker, fatter, high snare tone when you play it. Made of MDF with a full birch Tapa front face. This cajon produces really nice high sounds, cracking high sounds, deep punchy bass, and a lot of those middle tones that are often heard on cheaper level, entry-level cajons are missing. So you get excellent separation of tones, which means that whether you're using the instrument in an acoustic setting or playing amplified with it mic'd up, that separation really now enables you to project and cut through the music and be heard and provide the essential rhythmic component that you're there to produce. So hopefully that's helped. Leiva Zoco 2.0 Cajon, entry level by price, certainly not in features or quality. It is a professional, semi-professional quality cajon that will give lots of good service and produce great sounds.